Game 39, Leafs, Devils, and surprise, surprise, we have a ton of injury issues for the Toronto Maple Leafs here tonight ahead of this game, and some of them come as a bit of a surprise. So today's game preview presented by Bet365 is going to be a little bit different than normal, where we usually go over to Daily Faceoff and break down the lines and what we think of the combinations and who's playing with who and what it means for the game. I will put this out there before we get into anything else, and this point will stand as we go through the entire video and pretty much as we go through the rest of the season. If you have any interest in becoming a playoff team this season, at which point right now you are just outside of the playoff picture and actually within range. I mean, we're looking at the Montreal Canadiens, who to open this season were basically planted in our brains as God's gift to hockey. They're like 5 to 6 points ahead of the Toronto Maple Leafs right now, sitting in an Atlantic division spot in the top 3 in the division. And then you look at the wild cards, you look at the teams that you have to jump over. Yes, everybody is grabbing points every night, but it's not an insurmountable gap, so you could get there. But you have to win games. That's why losing a point against Detroit the other night was a bit of a stinker, and that's why the idea of losing points or losing these games, especially within your own conference or division going forward, is that much more important. That's why it will sting that much more if you go to OT against the Devils, you give them a point. Or if you lose in reg to the Devils and you lose a 4-point swing here in a team that you're chasing in the standings. You have to win games if you want to make the playoffs. That is a given. You haven't given yourself enough leeway that losing games can be acceptable and dropping points can be something you can get by with. So with that said, let's get over to who's missing from tonight's game before we dig into the lines, because the way things are shaking out right now in terms of who's playing with who's slotting into what spots in the lineup, it's hard to get any type of opinion on what they'll be and who's matched up with who or how they might work, because a lot of it is unfamiliar territory. So let's go over to what we saw earlier today on David Alter's Twitter. First couple of things. Craig Berube confirms this carrying over from the game against Detroit the other day. William Nylander will miss tonight's game and remains day-to-day. Quote, doing better, but it's still day-to-day. So Nylander left the game the other day against Ottawa, did not return after 8 minutes of play, did not play in the Detroit game on Sunday night in the second night of a back-to-back, and now here 2 days later against New Jersey, William Nylander will not play yet again. Auston Matthews is a game-time decision. Obviously, this one comes in relation to, or likely comes in relation to, blocking that shot on Sunday night's game in the second period. That one came with about a minute or so left in the second period. He left early after the goal was scored. He did return for the third, plays overtime, and he looked like he was laboring. Like, he looked slower. He looked like there was just something holding him back from what we had seen in the first 40 minutes, even more so than the bigger picture conversation we've been having about injured or not for Auston Matthews to this point in the season, and back-to-back years here now for Auston Matthews. Whatever he was dealing with in the third period was much different than what he's been dealing with all season, because for the first 40 he looked really good, and for that last 20 minutes it looked like he was dealing with something that was holding him back. Game time decision tonight. Chris Tanev getting evaluated today on a lower body injury unrelated to what has kept him out for parts of this season. Not noted in this tweet by Alter, but was pointed out by Elliot Friedman. This injury could keep Tanev out for a while. That is the last thing you want to hear if you are part of the Maple Leafs front office, if you are Craig Berube, if you are Jake McCabe, actually, if you're the partner he's had who's seen a lot of success since Chris Tanev's returned, or if you are a fan of the Toronto Maple Leafs, because Chris Tanev has missed most of this season. He's a guy who when is healthy is eating up 22, 24, 25 minutes a night or more. He plays your heavy matchups. He plays on the penalty kill. He's on your number one pairing with Jake McCabe. Like, he evens a lot of things out. And then the one area that he seems to have helped a lot too since his return is the transition game. Getting pucks up ice, breaking pucks out, moving things out of your zone in a quick and timely manner, cleanly. That's something this team has struggled with. You talk about the lack of offensive possession, the lack of rush chances and fast breaks. A lot of that comes because they can't break pucks out. Chris Tanev has come back into this lineup, and he's been a guy who's cleaned that area of the game up and made them significantly better when it's come to the transition game, on top of what he brings defensively and physically. Seeing him go down injured again, although unrelated to what he was dealing with before, and hearing it could be a while till he returns, is a scary, scary thought for a player at that age right now. So wishing the best for Chris Tanev as a Maple Leafs fan, and just personally him away from the arena, because you start to pile these injuries up at this point in your career, it gets a little bit scary where it's like, at what point do I have to consider what's best for my long-term health and not just my health in this game? The other one here, which is some shocking news and also some scary news to add, Dakota Joshua took a hit along the boards that affected his kidney. It's got blood and everything is the quote associated with this. He's actually still in Detroit getting that looked after and is with his family. It doesn't sound good, and wishing him the best. Look, whatever you think about him as a player, this is an awful situation for Dakota Joshua. This is a guy who has dealt with a lot in his hockey career and in his life. As a matter of fact, to this point, obviously had testicular cancer last year, had to battle through that, had a down season last year with the Canucks. The Leafs decide they're going to take a chance on Joshua, bring him in, has a slow start to this season, and then finally starts getting it going. Looks like he's an impact player. Looks like he's the type of guy that you thought you were acquiring in the summer. And then he has this pop up. This is a scary, scary situation. Hearing there's blood and everything, it doesn't sound good. Like, those are not sentences you want to see put together, knowing especially, too, he's in Detroit. That's close enough to Toronto, but he's staying there for evaluation, and his family is there. Like, this is scary stuff. Just away from hockey, personal shit, where you look at these guys dealing with these injuries, it's concerning. Long term, personally, what will they deal with life away from the arena? How does this affect them in everything beyond the game? That's not what you want to hear. So, wishing Dakota Joshua the best here as well. No idea what this injury entails in terms of if it could be something recovered from quickly, if this is something where all of a sudden he's looking at it and saying, oh yeah, he's good, he can return tomorrow to Toronto and get back home and be with his family. I have no idea. So hoping the best for Dakota Joshua. Just don't know anything further than that. Myself, obviously not a doctor, just reading what's read and put out there for me at this point. So those are your 4 major injuries dealing with right now. Quick recap, Nylander still day-to-day. Says doing better, but day-to-day, that's the most we could provide there. Matthews, game time decision. I imagine that's probably, if it is to do with the block shot, just, okay, what does your foot feel like? What does your leg feel like ahead of this game? Maybe do you take morning skate? Do you take a warm-up? See how everything is. And if it's not good, okay, don't worry about it. Don't play. Chris Tanev evaluated on a lower body injury. Could be out for a while. Who knows at this point? And then Dakota Joshua, there's no real timetable on health or injury or anything like that. Just doesn't sound good is what we had heard about Dakota Joshua. So let's just do a quick rundown of what your lines are. Jumping on over to Daily Faceoff. Line 1, what you're going to have right now for morning skate, at least from David Alter, Matthew Knies, John Tavares, Max Domi, Easton Cowan, Nick Waugh, Nick Robertson. Go to your second line. I have a quick point here. I like Cowan and Robertson playing together. I thought they had some chemistry. I thought they worked well together when they've gotten a few chances. I thought they created some opportunities. Like, I thought they were fast. I thought they found each other well. So I like them getting back together. Third line, Michelli, Lawton, McMahon. I could see this being a line that ends up actually playing a lot of minutes here tonight. If you look at that Cowan, Robertson, Waugh line, Berube has a tendency to take minutes away from Cowan and from Robertson. I could see Lawton, McMahon, and Michelli being guys who get elevated during this game. Your fourth line, Lorentz, Quillen, and Yarncroke. So Yarncroke slots back in. Jacob Quillen recalled from the Marlies. He will play tonight. Your defense for tonight's game, Morgan Rielly, Phil Myers. I've said enough about them. I don't have anything else to add other than I do not like the pairing. Myers did play better against Detroit, though, so I'll give him that. Jake McCabe, Ekman Larsson will be paired together tonight. I do like that pairing. That will be your top pairing. Probably could see them playing like 25 to 28 minutes tonight, to be honest with you. Simone Benoit, Troy Stetcher is your third pairing in this one. So Benoit back in the lineup. Matt Benning was recalled from the AHL. Good on him, obviously, if he gets an opportunity at some point here in the next little while. But for now, it is Benoit and Stetcher who will be your third pairing. Your power play units, Knies, Tavares, McCabe, Domi, Rielly, McMahon, Waugh, Cowan, Larsson, Ekman Larsson, and Nick Robertson are your second pairing. Again, sorry to everybody. I just don't have too much to offer in terms of thoughts on the line other than that second one and the third one in terms of they could be elevated. And then the second line, I do like Cowan and Robertson together, but these are all random combinations. Like, none of these guys have played together really to this point, and a lot of guys are going to be relied upon a whole lot more than they have previously. In your goaltending matchup, Joseph Woll, Jacob Markstrom for tonight's game. With that, let's get to our best bet segment. Our best bet is a presentation of Bet365. Whatever your bet is, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Use code NATION. That's NATION. Code NATION. NATION. Must be 19 or older. Ontario only. Please play responsibly. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, visit connectsontario.ca. Let's keep this simple tonight. Best bets this season, we have climbed back out of a hole of down 6.9 units to 5.6 units right now. So hopefully a win here tonight on this best bet can get us in the right direction and continue the mojo that we started to at least put together. We lost 21 straight bets that dug this hole. Now over the last 10 games, we've put together 5 wins. So if we can keep building on that and not have this be a Leaf situation where it's a little blip of happiness and good stuff and then just piles of dog crap, then maybe we can actually win some bets and come out positive at the end of the year. It is only game 39 after all. Tonight's best bet, down 5.65 units on the season. Working our way to get ourselves out of this one. We'll take 1 second because we're going to jump on over to the popular tab. We're going to see what our main lines are for tonight, where we have the Devils favored -135, the Maple Leafs +115, a total of 6 in this, +100 to the over, -120 to the under. I would say if I was looking anyway, I would be looking towards Devils money line at the -135, a little expensive, but probably lean that way. I do think the Devils probably win this one. No slight to the Leafs there, but you're missing a lot of guys and some important guys. And then Devils puck line if you wanted to go that way. Neither of those are official best bets, just general thoughts on the side of this game. In terms of total, probably lean more towards an over just because I feel like this can be a sloppy, messy game. Your best bet for tonight, we're going to go to the player tab. We go to the goal scorers, show more, scroll down, and then you're going to find at +450 Nick Robertson anytime goal. We're going to go a quarter of a unit. It's our only bet of the night. $25 will profit you 112.5 on this one. Simply put, I thought Nick Robertson's game has been really good over the last couple of games, despite Berube holding him back on some minutes. Scores against the Red Wings the other night. With these injuries, Nick Robertson probably going to be relied upon a lot more. Probably plays on power play 1 for a significant chunk of time, or gets a significant chunk of power play time, I should say. So I think Nicky Bobby could get going here. I think he could be a guy who ends up having to elevate up the lineup, and if he is playing well, maybe you start to lean on him. Maybe he plays in roles on the first line. Maybe he plays with Lawton. Maybe he plays with Waugh. He could be a guy who just gets pushed into some proper minutes. Even if he doesn't, I feel like this is a low-risk bet at +450 for a quarter of a unit because he has been playing well no matter where he's been slotted in the lineup. So even if it's not in a top 6 spot, if he's playing in the bottom 6, he's still a guy who can produce and score and get you some type of production. So that is all for today's pregame video. I know it's a little bit vague, but we're talking about a lot of injuries. We don't have too much information on lines and line combinations and who's playing with who and where. There's guys who could play. There's guys who definitely will not play. That changes how the lines might look. So that's what you're going to get for today's game preview. If you did enjoy it, hit the like button, subscribe here to the channel. If you have your own thoughts on who wins, the best bets, the lines, who's in, who's out, drop your comments below. I want to see what you guys think about tonight's game. Looking forward to reading all of it. Quick note, I will not be here following tonight's game. I will be on a plane, fingers crossed. I was supposed to be on a plane last night, and I was also supposed to be on a plane on Sunday, but Still have not. I will be on a plane on my way to Minnesota to cover the World Juniors, which will mean Nick Alberga and producer Vic will be stepping in to cover for me on Leafs Nation After Dark. So they will be live right here on this channel for another edition of Leafs Nation After Dark on Leafs Nation 401 YouTube channel to break everything down in Game 39 between the Leafs and the Devils. Thanks for watching. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. I guess Nick and Vic will see you following tonight's game for another edition. See you guys then. Keep believing. For more content just like this, including game previews, post-game live shows, Leafs Morning Take Monday through Friday with Nick Alberga and Jay Rosehill with special guests, as well as instant reaction videos, make sure to be subscribed here to the Leafs Nation YouTube channel. Turn on notifications so you don't miss anything, and drop a like.